Education can be a road to economic opportunity, but it can also work the other way around. That's why the national group Latinos for Education recently invited pitches from edupreneurs. To tell us about the project is the group's Director of National Strategy and Innovation, Johana Muriel Grajales, and one of the 10 pitch finalists, the creator of an app called CollegeConnect, Natasha Lopez. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
I want to start with Johana. First of all, this idea of edupreneurs helping advance education, how does this work exactly?
Well, Latinos, well, first of all, thank you for having us here. It's really a pleasure for us to be here with you. Latinos for Education in general, we are working to help close the representation gap of Latino leaders across the education sector. And entrepreneurship is one of them. So entrepreneurship is one of the areas in which we see few Latino leaders being able to advance their ideas to help change the education system. And there is a lot of passion and motivation amongst Latinos to come up with new programs, new ventures, new technologies to help serve the students differently. But they find many different hurdles along the way to make that a reality. So Latinos for Education decided to start creating systems of supports to help them find the resources to advance those ideas.
Yeah. Natasha, what about those hurdles? Before we get into your solution, what about your pathway to college and what kind of hurdles you had to contend with?
So I was a first-generation college student, first in my family to go to college, originally from the Bronx. So I came from a low-income background as well. And so it was really challenging to navigate the resources and all the different elements that come with the college application process. And so now I'm kind of on the other side of it as an educator, being able to see what my students are also going through as first-generation college students.
Right. Going back to Johana, as far as the things that these ideas are supposed to solve, what about some of the other hurdles that Latino students might be encountering?
Well, for Latino students, one of the biggest hurdles sometimes is not to find a teacher or somebody in the classroom or in the schoolhouse that looks like them. So where they can feel a little bit more of trust, and also people who can have a little more context about the life experiences they have at home, so they can help them, support them more. So that's one of them. The other one is being able to really develop their assets. So one of the things that we see as an asset for Latino students is their dual language, and being able to really nurture that as an asset throughout the schooling years to be a bilingual professional eventually. And sometimes the schools are not well equipped to help them nurture those skills. So those are some of the hurdles that Latino students live.
Natasha, one of the hurdles, of course, that you're looking at closely with your creation is the burden of applying to all these different colleges, although it's almost like filling in forms at one level, but what does your app do to help students exactly?
So right now, the average caseload of students for school counselors is about 464 students. So for first-generation college students, when they don't necessarily have that guidance at home and no one that has already been to college to help them navigate the process, when they go to school and they have a counselor that has over 400 students to serve, they're not really getting all of the resources that they should be getting in order to apply to college. And so that's one of the reasons why it's really challenging for them. For CollegeConnect, I hope to bring those resources all together in one place so that students can have an easier time navigating that process.
What kind of things do these students miss out on if they don't have a counselor at their high school to enlighten them? These things that you might be putting into this app, what are we going to expect here?
Yeah. So the college application process is pretty complex, so there are a lot of essays that come along with it. So support helping to help students, guide them on how to write those essays. And the financial aid piece is something that's also really daunting for students. What are the loans? How much loan should I take out? How do I apply for financial aid? So those are some of the things that I hope to address with the CollegeConnect.
Sure. These are pretty important matters, because you could have a student who's intellectually capable of going somewhere, but if they can't afford the books, I guess, isn't that a big problem?
Yes, economic resources is definitely another one of the problems that, many Latino families are middle or low income families, so they don't have the resources to guide their students in the same way that others students have. So having entrepreneurs like Natasha developing tools that are accessible for students. A private school counselor can cost thousands of dollars and can help successfully a student get into a good college with a good plan to enroll to college, but not all students have access to that. So being able to develop an application like CollegeConnect that is also cultural relevant. So Natasha is building this based on their experiences that she knows Latino students face, Latino families, their gaps of understanding that they have about the system, and being able to provide that in a way that is accessible closes that sort of like economic gap in many different ways.
This is Beyond the News. We're talking with Johana Muriel Grajales from Latinos for Education and Natasha Lopez, the creator of CollegeConnect. Natasha, what was your motivation here? Were you trying to close that gap in terms of access to expertise? Would you say it's that what you're trying to do?
Right, yes. So as I mentioned earlier, my own experience as a first-generation college student and trying to navigate that process and finding a variety of mentors and websites and resources that I can go to, but also now as a college counselor for a Boston public school, I've really been able to gain an understanding of those questions and frustrations that my students have and all the different challenges that come up through the process, even though I work with them one-on-one. So that was really my inspiration behind CollegeConnect.
Johana, what about the possibilities here of this pitch competition as a way of promoting business growth? Isn't that important too?
Yes, that's at a macro level, sort of like what our big goal is to have more people like Natasha being able to go from having an idea that they know is going to really help students to making it a reality that could help not just their communities that they serve, but maybe even at a national level. So the things that we are doing is at the core of the issue of helping Latino leaders, Latino entrepreneurs succeed is that there is very little familiarity with the philanthropic sector, with how fundraising works, with how to develop networks with funders or investors. So we are working to equip and train Latino entrepreneurs to help how to access those networks and learn how to leverage those resources and build those relationships. So our role is really serving as a bridge so that more Latino leaders can go from having an idea to then actually having some seed funding to begin working on it, and a network that will help them to cultivate that process to take it to the next level.
Well, if people want some more information about Latinos for Education, you've got a website they can check out?
Yes, absolutely. It's www.latinosforeducation.org.
And Natasha, you've got your web someplace people can chase that down maybe?
So right now I do not have a website for CollegeConnect yet. We're still in the early stages, but right now they can communicate with me through Latinos for Education publication, as well as my own email address, nlopez1210@gmail.com if anyone has questions about CollegeConnect.
Thank you both very much, Natasha Lopez and Johana Muriel Grajales. We'll have more news in just a moment.